have different options to move. You can take movement cards, 1 step, 2 steps, up to 5 steps. And for example, now it's turn of the green color, which can take gravitational course there for green. So green can take 1 step in this direction and get 1 green winning point. And then green can turn itself 90 degrees in 1 direction. For example, in this direction. And then this green stone falls down, and this green stone would fall, but it's stuck. Because there's a stone here, so it doesn't fall any farther. And then it's the next player's turn, and the player who gets a winning point from every color first wins.
Alright, our game with Felipe and Francisco is called Finger Game. It's a working title. The idea is to kind of take, what was the theme? Taking a mix on an old genre, and our genre was Twister. So the idea is that you kind of play Twister on the board. So these brown circles, you have to tap the number of times that there's a number on them before the time runs out and they disappear. And then the blue ones, you have to move enough for them to disappear. And then the yellow ones you have to hold. So in the end you have like 10 fingers if you play with your friends or whatever, and then you have to try to get as many points or whatever.
The green ones you hold.
Right. Yeah, so maybe it needs more players than only one. Yep, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, well, so this is homebrew, this is our prototype. We started with the mechanic which was can't stop, won't stop, our topic. And we thought about like a button mashing game where one player tries to beat the other by mashing buttons. And we added a mechanic to press different buttons in a different combination. Like it's a combo which you have to press and be the first to finish. That's the game. We had support for the audio from I think somewhere in the Netherlands. I can show you the name. They helped us doing the soundtrack while we were working here, and like yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. So jamming remotely from that's very cool.
They saw the graphics via our live stream, and we saw what they did, and like exchange was kind of hard. Huh?
Did you use Hangout?
You changed files and so?
Yeah, we had a Dropbox,
Okay.
so they could see that in the live stream kind of thing.
Awesome.
How was the live stream done? In Google Hangout or?
No, it was live stream Procaster.
Okay.
Yeah. Shall we just play?
Please.
So it's on the keyboard, and you have to press the right button. No, right, I'm so sorry. And we wanted to add we wanted to add a feature where if you press the wrong button, the combination adds up, so you have to press more buttons than the other one, so you can't just randomly mash them and stuff. And yeah, basically you have to finish first, and he was faster than me. So that's what we did today.
Please close your eyes. So, today I made a robot to play this board game. This is the robot, and
This is the board game.
and this is the board game. I didn't make the board game, but I made the robot basically. I made this application here. It is basically a remote soundboard. So when I press a button here, he hears it on the mobile phone. Can you please point at the mobile phone? And the mobile phone transmits it. No, it's fine. It's fine that way. Stop, robot. Transmits it to his earphones.
To his brain.
Directly to his brain. So we will try to play the board game now. Wait a moment. Wait a moment. Technical difficulties. It's obviously a problem with the robot, not a problem with the program. It's not that. Don't you hear anything? I have no idea what's happening at the moment. I am definitely not the one doing this. You're doing it wrong.
What is happening? You should have the creator.
Well done.
You can kill yourself with the robot.
Okay, so this is basically what I did. I had other for the robot.
My theme was a non-standard take on a classical topic, in this case it's poetry, the classical topic. And what I wanted to do is a collaborative poetry, which I was later on told that actually has some sort of name, exquisite something.
Yeah, cadaver.
Sorry?
Exquisite cadaver.
Corpse.
Oh, the
Yeah, exquisite corpse, yeah, exactly. And I tried to use PHP because I'm not a web programmer and I know nothing about it. And midst PHP, I found out that I can't just use its files because I don't then have guaranteed unique access to those. So I had to connect it to MySQL as well. So that was already two languages, I don't know. And in the end, I also found that PHP don't give me any active elements on the client side, so I had to connect it to JavaScript as well. So that was third language that I don't actually know, combined with HTML and CSS, that makes it 5. So I didn't manage to actually put it online, but it works, at least on my local version. So I call these things poems, like collaborative poem, where you actually get a last line of a poem and you write a new line so it rhymes. And I'm actually in the beginning.
It has to rhyme?
It doesn't have to, yeah, I wanted to show also that it actually works with multiple sessions. So here I have opened another one then in the different windows, so it really works for multiple people at once. So something that rhymes with wine.
Fine.
So I make this line, and actually this is a poem I started beforehand, so all of them have 8 lines. So this would be with this last line, this would be something that rhymes all together, and here I have started a new one. So we could make a new one whole by ourselves here, but I think that I don't want to clog the time so much. So this is basically it. So 5 languages: HTML, PHP, C, CSS, MySQL, and JavaScript.
So Alejandro,
we try to build something with a Ruby framework, which is called Gosu. We wanted to try something with Ruby. We didn't know the framework, but it's quite simple. So Alejandro mainly drew these very nice animations. He's very skilled in that. He couldn't install on his Linux the framework, so I finally programmed a little bit more and he did more the animations. And we kind of mash up all the top ideas. So we have world and turning around the world, and we have a sheep. Actually, it's a wolf, but it was like a sheep.
An animal?
Yeah, but there is no head. Yeah, we need some time. And the idea is that you can jump between walls, and you should avoid the dino. Of course, it's an endless game because we haven't yet finished the collision with the dinos. So it's also part of the topic, right?
So it's can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah. Exactly. So I will continue until you, I don't know, push me out or something. Yeah, that's it. We had a lot of fun. Look at that. Yeah. And yeah, it was very fun.
Alright, so the theme is can't stop, won't stop. And as you see, there's a counter up there on the very top. And you can pop the bubbles. And every bubble gives you 5% or something. And then on every new level, the time or the percentage goes down faster. And you also get more penalty when you don't hit a bubble. You don't see it because the webcam is quite slow, but there's a red flash or something. So you see that you've missed. And it's multi-touchable, so you can like do many fingers like that.
Oh!
And that's what happens when you die.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Our game actually has lore, so I'll read that first. It's called A Sheep in Wolf's Fur. On a beautiful hill surrounded by lush green meadows far away from here, there is a costume shop. And the black sheep Lupov of the flock on the hill has an evil idea. Out of jealousy against the many competitors for his girlfriend, he has a plan to eliminate rivals. Therefore, he buys in the costume shop a wolf fur. He creeps down the hill towards the dark forest, and there he meets a pack of wolves that look very hungry. They distrust Lupov in the beginning because they always have sheep smell in their nose, but they like his plan for getting food. The big plan, Lupov forces his rivals to a special place where the wolves can kill them, which you can see here. Unfortunately, we didn't really have time to do all this. It's our first jam for us two programmers, and we didn't really implement everything, so this is what we have. You play as this guy in the top right at the moment. And we try to incorporate all three of the themes, so you can't actually stop. And you can't really control where you're going that well. As you can see, you're kind of jiggling around.
What is the sheep doing?
They're all kind of dead. I didn't have time to implement it, but if the sheep gets in the top right, where your girlfriend is, you're meant to lose, but I didn't have time. But as you can see, when the other sheep touch the wolves, they die. Apart from the horny ones, those are fine. Okay. And yeah, like the initial goal was to try and...
The sheep are really intelligent.
They're sheep, what do you expect?
Sheeps.
The goal was originally to have special areas where you're trying to drive the wolves while keeping them away from your... or try to drive the sheep toward the wolves to keep them away from your girlfriend, but...
What is with the sheep down to the left?
Those are your pals, they don't worry about them. Those don't really do anything, they don't have proper code. But yeah, this is basically what we had time to finish. It doesn't work, but it's what we have.
We took the third topic, the classic game, took it and used the other two topics, which sounds simply to make the game more crazy. So we just added some features which are annoying for people when playing a simple game. So we didn't finish it, of course, but what you can see is a 4-player Pong game. yeah, the ball starts in some direction and the player have to put the ball away again. The idea, which you can't see actually in the game, behind the players, there are some areas which are growing or shrinking while you're playing and you get your scores on the left side. And if you have a really high score in comparing to the other players, then your area grows a lot, so you can't catch any ball. And the areas for the other people, of course, are shrinking in this circle. So for them it is easier to catch the ball again. So there will be never an end of it, but in fact you can see there's something like a score which is increasing. That's it pretty much.
So it's can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah, because
And classic game.
it didn't have the classic game, so simply like that. You see,
No shapes and moves.
yeah. So in fact you can't see the areas. But the areas affect the distance you can move with your player. And later on maybe we get the rotation a bit faster if the players getting to the game. So yeah, that's simply the game. Which is
So we didn't manage to go as far as we could because we started really late and had technical difficulties.
Alright.
We had another person, but he left. And the idea was basically there are two minors, so it's not minors but minors. And it's a two-player game where the story is two miners found a treasure in the mine, and now they have to fight who gets to escape and gets out of it, and get the other one left behind. So the state is just those guys running around, and that's pretty much it. The colleague who left made the generator for the level, and yeah. And there were basically the idea that you could throw stones and get stones left behind, so you would build an obstacle with that on your way on escape. The idea was that a player in the front moves slower because he has to carry the chest. That makes it harder for the first player to escape and keep them closer together, so it isn't lost if you get too far behind as a back player. There's the animations which didn't got in, sadly. What we use as our 2D library is TK2D.
Okay.
And put them just in separate pictures, and TK2D has enough functions to put them together as a sprite sheet and animation. And that's it.
Cool.
So the first game I started today to make was some kind of Tetris game. One of the players had a regular Tetris game, so moving around some blocks to complete the lines. But the other player started to implement. The other player had to move around on the ground, grab some blocks, put it in to another position. So the second player had to create some patterns, so these patterns disappeared and he got his own points. The problem I had was with the control of the second player. Right now it seems to be fine, but as you can see there are some problems I had. And that's why I thought, no, I don't want to do this because I didn't want to waste too much time on this single problem, And that's why I started to think about what could I do else. And I started to implement some simple touch for Android, because I never did something for Android except for a small game, and I never did touch except for the touch screen project. I think Tobias will know what it is.
Oh yeah, massive defense.
So I did a very simple thing for touch input on a mobile device. You had some kind of buttons, the cubes. The cubes turned yellow if you touched them and green if you stopped touching them. And I thought, now I have touch input. What game could I make using touch input? Okay, in the background, yes, there's a clock, but it doesn't matter. It's just a placeholder. You can see a box and some green and red objects. You are controlling the box by touching the box and sliding it around. Your aim in this game is to collect as many green cubes, spheres and so on to get more points to win the game. The red obstacles will take away points you already collected. And as I mentioned, it's a touch game for mobile devices, so I already exported it for an Android device. You have to move your box and have to collect as many green things as possible to get
amazing.
medicine or to get
Nom 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 nom.
I love the movement of the box.
I know.
Are you singing?
I know.
Oh gosh,
It's a single player game. There are also some other things I wanted to implement, but I hadn't enough time. For example, the reason why there is a clock texture is because I want to have a timer. So you don't have as many time as you want. Right now you see I can do simply nothing and maybe I'll also get some points. Maybe. So I wanted to integrate the timer so there's a limitation for the playtime. This way there could also be a high score and also other... Ooh, I got points. No! And also other items which increase your time left. And there are also still some other things implemented in this game, but I don't think it's not that important to know all the stuff.
I have a better score than you.
I have one question. The background, is that a clock face or is it A1?
It's a clock. One moment. I simply have to do two things to show it is a clock.
you just rotated the one.
Oh no, he knows! It's a clock. It is a clock.
I'm not convinced actually. I'm less convinced than I was before.
So, and that's it.
Wonderful.